So I'm watching this show. It's called White Lotus on HBO. It's a series and it's freaking good. At first, I was very hesitant to actually watch this show. I watched this show before, maybe about 10 minutes of the first episode, and I clicked off of it. I thought it was kind of whack. I thought it was boring. But today I actually had a lot of work to do, so I let the show play in the background as I'm working on the computer. As the show progresses, I get really pulled in. And I'm like, oh, this is one of those slow burn type of shows. And it's about the characters. They're in Hawaii. They're on this really expensive resort. Everybody there is balling. And some of the characters that they follow is a family. And it's a family of four plus the daughter's homegirl. And leading up to this scene, all the characters, their personalities revealed, right? You have the mom, the dad, the daughter, her homegirl, and the son. And the son, he has this character who's very young. He's 16 years old. He's stuck in front of the camera, like his phone, and he's staring at it the whole time. He doesn't want to do any activities out in Mother Nature. The dad is always trying to get him to get out of his shell, the mom. And the sister and the friend treat him like trash. They make him sleep in this closet, this broom closet, when they have like a whole big old suite. And eventually he gets to the point where he's sleeping out on the beach. Now, one morning while he's sleeping out on the beach, he wakes up and he flips out and he's like, oh shoot, where's my phone? Where's my laptop? Where's my iPad? The shore had came up and then washed all his stuff away. So now he's out in this resort, this very nice, expensive resort without any technology. So one morning he goes to sleep, and then he wakes up one morning, and there's these group of men. They have like this rowboat, and they're about to like go into the ocean, and they look at the sun, and they're like, "Hey, come join us." So the son's like, "Me? Like I'm not that strong though. I don't know if I can keep up with you guys." He's like, "Don't even sweat, man. We can carry the extra slack, like we got you, homie. Like we don't mind dead weight." So he joins them and he starts rowing out. Boom, cut scene to another scene. And throughout the episodes, the son starts to fall in love with Mother Nature. And it leads up to the scene where the family's having dinners, the five of them, the family and then the homegirl. And the son's like, hey, I want to stay in Hawaii. Like, I really love it out here. And the parents are like, no, you cannot stay. Like, you're a minor. You're still under our supervision. You cannot stay in Hawaii. We're leaving next week and you're coming with us. And the son's like, no, why can't I stay? I'm finally happy. I enjoy my life. And the parents are like, well, what about school? What about your life back home? And he's like, dude, I don't have a life back home. And school, I could just do it online and I can finish it out here. So the son falls in love with this rowing thing. And, next summer, they're going to have like this big event where he is going to participate. He wants to join. The guys have like invited him to be part of this big old ceremony, this big event. I forgot what it was called, but he's like, I want to be part of that. And the parents are like, no, you're coming with us. They're not even hearing the son out. They're not even giving him any other options. Like, well, maybe you can go, and maybe the dad can stay here because the parents are, well, at least the mom is filthy, filthy rich, multi-millionaire type stuff. And you would come to think at that point, the dad could just retire and stay with the son and have him go through whatever he's going through to kind of experience life. And I have to build this narrative in regards to the show because it reminds me of my childhood. And my childhood, my parents never spoke to me. And I get it. I'm not faulting them for it. My parents, they were refugees from Vietnam and they came over to America and they couldn't really build a life. They had to build survival. And in doing so, they were forced to work long hours every single day. But even on the days where they could talk to me at night, maybe, they never spoke to me. All I remember from my childhood, honestly, is a lot of lonely nights, me being by myself, even though I have siblings. I have an older brother, I have a younger brother. I have a younger sister, but she's 12 years younger than I am. So there's like a big age gap. And a lot of my childhood involves like my dad beating me too. You know, that's how he was raised. He carried that over with me. You know, when we stepped out of line somehow, bam. You know, whenever he gets pissed off, bam. You know, that was my childhood. I remember when I was in like 4th or 5th grade, I was reading English. Like for English class, I had to read something, and my dad got pissed because I had a hard time reading it. He smacked the back of my head, pow! And he hit me so hard, my head hit the table. So when he would smack me, my head would be like, bam! So it was like a double hit. It was like a 2-for-1. That's how my childhood went. And probably until about 5th grade, it was like that. And then my parents ended up getting divorced. And when my parents divorced, I went to go live with my mom for a period of time, a couple years. And she was so busy working 2 jobs now where she really couldn't watch after me. And it was me, my younger brother, and my little sister. She got so busy where my little sister she got dropped off at the babysitter's. And I was 12 years old. We were living in Hawaii at the time. After school, me and a couple of friends, we would actually take the bus down to the babysitter's house, right? We would take, I think it was a 13 bus, down to close to Chinatown, pick up my little sister, and then go back up. It wasn't that far, but you can only imagine 12-year-old boys taking the bus to go pick up this infant from the babysitters in a baby carriage and then riding the bus back. So I never really had anyone try to get to know me as a person, try to hear me out. And my childhood involved a lot of lonely nights, like I mentioned. And that scene about the family not even hearing the son out, not even giving him some options, evoked that memory out of me, evoked these emotions out of me. And I wish if, we could go back in time, my parents could understand, like, hey, you just needed to hear me out. Because, growing up, I hated school. I freaking hated school. But my dad, he pushed school, like most Asian parents would on their kids. But if he really got to understand who I was, he would come to learn I hated school. So maybe if he would have just talked to me as opposed to pushing school and what he wanted for me, he would have come to understand, maybe school's not for you. Maybe entrepreneurship's for you. Maybe a blue-collar job. Hey, maybe just get straight to work. Forget school, forget college. And that ended up leaving me to grow up by myself. And in doing so, the streets called me and streets took me in. And even then, I was the oldest out of my group. It was always me giving advice to the younger homies. And in turn, the streets took me in. And when you go to the streets, there's only a couple outcomes, right? 6 feet under, you end up in jail, or you end up in a life of misery. And for me, I took the path of going to prison. Went to prison at 21 years old. And that really changed my life forever. But looking back at that scene and reflecting on my life, I just wished for a moment. My dad is supposed to just hitting me all the time. On the weekends, he would just leave to go gamble. He still won't admit it to this day. He has a gambling problem. At this point, he's 70 something. And he still won't admit it, saying, hey, you know what? I'm addicted to gambling. He doesn't want us to know his flaws, but yet he would beat me on my flaws, right? Hound me on my imperfections. And I'm 41 now. He still gets me on my dome about that. And, I don't have any kids, but I know if I were to have kids now, through technology, through the access of information, and through my own life experience, if I were to have a kid, I would know that it's important to hear the kids out. Maybe have them follow through on their wants and their needs, and have them learn what they like, what they don't like, as opposed to forcing things upon them. And who knows, maybe they might turn out just as bad as I was, a troublemaker. But who knows? Maybe they might live a life, a full life, a happy life. Maybe not one full of financial success, but one where they're feeling loved and be feeling heard. And that's exactly what that scene reminded me of.